Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and this is my 31 days of horror movie reviews. And I decided to check out this film. It's a small film, so I don't know if everybody has heard of it, but it is called In a Violent Nature. It's a 2024 film that is a Canadian movie, in fact, that was distributed to the States. It's written and directed by Chris Nash. And how do I describe the plot of this movie without making it sound overly simplistic or maybe making it sound like there's not a whole lot going on? This is basically a love letter, a tribute to classic 80s horror slashers. This is the type of stuff that I grew up on. This is the type of stuff that I think of as far as my go-to for touchstones of horror films, classic horror films. It's all of the tropes and the things that I love about some of those dumb horror movies. And this almost itches everything that I could maybe think about when it comes to old school horror. I'm a sucker for slashers, especially. It seems like in more recent years we've gotten so much of demonic possession and hauntings and witches and ghosts and that type of bullshit that don't usually do a whole lot for me. But you have a dude in a mask walking around slowly killing people. I'm in. I will give it a few extra points. And also, not only is this movie taking inspiration for old slashers, but it seems to specifically be referencing Friday the 13th. It's almost as if this director couldn't get the rights or couldn't get involved in a Friday the 13th movie. I don't really know what's going on with the Friday the 13th franchise, why we haven't had a new film in like over 10 years, but this guy said, fuck it, I will make a new movie myself. And so that's what this movie is, pretty much right off the bat. I enjoyed it for the most part. I'm not going to say that it's going to be everybody's thing. I can totally understand people who watch this movie and say, what the fuck? Like, what was the point of this? Why was this made? Or what am I supposed to get coming out of this movie? I understand all of that. Maybe there's parts of me that was thinking the same thing while watching it. But as I said, there is a bigger part of me that did appreciate this, that did like what this guy was going for. First things first, I appreciated the fact that the majority of this movie is from the killer's point of view. It's sort of something that I want to say I would think about. Because I myself have made short films and I've entered films into film contests in my town, in my area, and so there was a period where I was doing a lot of horror type ideas, trying to take a different spin on old horror movies that has already been made, but how can I present it to be different? So instantly when I see the beginning of this movie and you see it's shot from like behind the killer's back and you're just watching him walk through the woods, it just made me think of like, well, what if there was a Friday the 13th movie where instead of following the dumb group of teenagers or the dumb group of camp counselors who usually just act stupid and talk about the same dumb shit, let's follow the killer and let's see what it's like for him to navigate to different areas of the woods. Finally, maybe hear commotion coming down of people talking, whatever, and he just walks up to them and maybe he'll watch them. Maybe he'll just, I don't know, maybe he's forming a fucking plan on how to kill them. Or maybe he just walks right up to the person and killed them right then and there. You know, so you never really know what you're going to get, but it is presenting a similar story from a different way. And the person himself, you do see what he looks like, and you do see the type of mask that they go for. I guess not the whole movie is from the killer's point of view. there is a part where they, I guess, do have to go to the group of campers who were show up, and they have that cliched moment of they're in front of a campfire and they're talking about the stories and sort of what the town has heard about the supposed killer that's out there. You got to have that to fill in some gaps, I think, for the audience. But for the most part, those people are just there to be meat-filled body bags, right? They're people to get killed by the killer. You don't have any emotional attachment to them. You don't really care about what happens to them. That might be an issue for some people, because it's like, well, I'm just watching people die in brutal and violent and gory, vicious ways. And there are a few kills in this movie that I was like, God damn. One in particular where it just felt like it kept going. It's like, they're already dead, but the killer just wanted to see what the hell else can I do with their head and fucking contort them, their lifeless body. It was fucked up. I guess I can appreciate the practical effects. I can appreciate the blood, the gore, and whatnot. And also the way how this was shot. I'm not going to say it's the most groundbreaking. It's clearly very low budget, and it's clearly probably not a lot to work with. But there was one shot that was up above, like an overview of the killer slowly walking towards somebody that was already hurt, so they're crawling. And as they can't get away, it's all one shot. I mean, there must have been some sort of manipulation. But the killer picks up a giant rock and crushes the guy's head, but it looked like one take. The person was moving, so it wasn't a dummy the whole time. And then you see his head explode. So I was just in my head watching it going, how the fuck did they pull that shot off? And maybe that's not what I'm supposed to be thinking. Maybe I should be disturbed. Maybe there are other people who will watch this and be disturbed. I wasn't so much scared or disturbed or freaked out. I was more trying to figure out how certain shots were made, how this movie was made with probably such a low budget. I couldn't find the budget, the actual number, but I saw that it made close to $5 million at the box office, and that's very limited release, and so that's impressive. I think what I am taking away from this movie, and probably what I enjoyed the most, because it's not a perfect film, it's not even a great film, even the ending, like the last 10 minutes, it's very awkward, and it's very much like, what the fuck are we doing? Are we just sort of counting the minutes to match the runtime? Or was it just trying to subvert expectations? I don't know. But it left me after watching it thinking, man, I want to get back into making films. I want to get back into sort of doing my own stuff, guerrilla style. Just, why the fuck not, right? I mean, look at what you can create here just with a fucking camera and some people who are willing to scream and get murdered. Not necessarily for real, but you know what I'm saying. If I had to rate this movie, I guess I should be doing that with the more recent films. I'm going to give it, on a technical level and for my personal taste, a good date movie. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you too saw In a Violent Nature. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Or was it a big fat waste of time for you? Like, comment, subscribe. Later.
These silent screams became a part of me. I'm moving past that. Please won't you free my soul? Can't hardly breathe in this society. I'm just a madman. Leave misery at home.